Good day, Muttonistas. You might have noticed that I'm not in Leipzig at the moment. I'm actually in Seville. However, this is a vlog about the Champions League round of 16 match against RB Leipzig. So the journey does start here, so come and join me for the matchday vlog of Manchester City away at RB Leipzig. Anyway, Muttonistas, being here is a little bit off topic, and since this is a vlog about a football match in Eastern Germany, I'm going to treat you to a tapa, folks, but only one. So, what have we got here then? How kind of the ACJ to get me in a glass of Manzanilla sherry. Probably doesn't mix very well with the meatballs, but we'll give it a go anyway. Okay, so in my absence, the lads have ordered some meatballs. We'll give it a try. And I have to say that tastes more like a cheek to me, that does, and a rich tomato sauce. Doesn't mix with the sherry, but who cares? But the sherry is very good. It's Manzanilla, one of the driest, the second driest that you can get, and it's a good mix with ham, pickled seafood, that sort of thing, or nuts. Okay, Muttonistas, I've been a bit mean. I'm not going to just leave you on one tapa, we'll have one more for the road. And just as a footnote, I have to say, it's actually quite warm here. It was 26 degrees in the afternoon. What am I doing with this coat on? Obviously, I did have to bring it, because it's going to probably be brass monkeys in Leipzig. Your final tapa, we're taking you to a place I've featured in 2 of the videos, Los Golondrinas, one of my favourites here. Great place to stand up, take a sherry, a wine and a little tapa. Well, as always, when in Seville, have a sherry, and this time I've gone for the bone dry one, drier than that Manzanilla, called Fino. Actually, it's often matched with Iberian ham in this part of the world. James has gone for white wine, Richard Oloroso, and you can get Oloroso dry or sweet. Is this a dry or a sweet one? Sorry, dry. As you won't be surprised to hear, I like the dry one, but I don't like the sweet one. First of all, a local cured sausage. It should be a bit spicy, called Morcon. Not had it before. Beautiful, fatty and spicy. Actually, it's going to be a good match for the Fino. Okay, and down here we have swordfish and we have chipperones, baby squids in green sauce, which I think is some parsley or pesto sauce. And finally, the swordfish. Watch out for the bones, but again, beautifully fresh and tasty. Fairly strong flavoured fish as well, that is. But you know what it's like with mutton tours? Always the strongest flavoured dishes on the menu. Anyway, that definitely is your lot for now, Muttonistas, and I will see you at the airport when we roll the video. Well, just about enough time to make the connection. I went to the Iberia transfer desk. They closed that one, and there's one like a 10-minute walk away. First she said, oh, you have to go out to British Airways in the main check-in hall. No way I'd make the flight, and quite frankly, that would be ridiculous. And I insisted the baggage had been checked at least to London, and she wrote out a handwritten boarding card. Never seen one of those before. Oh well, let's hope they accept it. Well, after all that running around, when I got to the gate, they gave me my boarding pass, a normal one rather than that scribbled one for this flight and for my next one. Why couldn't they do that earlier? Still got problems. I've got to pick up my bag at Terminal 3 when I get to Heathrow and scoot over to Terminal 5, because of course, if you remember, they didn't check it all the way through. Now, fortunately, that plane landed 10 minutes early. This is the critical part of the journey, me being able to get my bag over from Terminal 3 to Terminal 5 in time. Let's hope there's no delay with the baggage handling. Or for that matter with immigration and customs, which I am absurdly having to go through here. Right, sail through immigration, waiting in the baggage hall now, and this is Le Crunch, this is. I've got about an hour and 20 to play with between here and getting my bag checked in at Terminal 5. So I could do with the bags coming within half an hour, which they should do. They shouldn't take even that long. But with all that messing about at the start of the journey, there's a risk that my bags won't come at all, or moreover, my one suitcase will not turn up at all. That will be a disaster. Will leave an almighty mess to be sorted out. Not looking good so far. I am genuinely worried. The bags had just over an hour to connect onto the Heathrow flight at Madrid, so let's hope that's happened, because everything will go tits up if this bag doesn't come. This is not looking good. Only 6 or 7 people left here at the baggage reclaim, and I can't find the little baggage docket. She didn't stick it to the back of anything. Gave me some tiny thing that was loose. I think it's fallen out of my pocket. What a mess. Having lost the tag, I thought it was a disaster, but it seems to have all turned out nice again. I'll tell you when I'm through customs. So, to cut a long story long, as it were, the bag had been relabelled in Madrid to go all the way to Berlin, which is perfect, except nobody told me. I went to the lost luggage, full of doom and gloom, thinking, well, either I go without the luggage and don't reclaim it, or I reclaim it in terms of making a claim for it from the lost baggage tag, and then of course miss the flight whilst I'm faffing about. But fortunately there was no queue at the baggage handling desk of British Airways. Quickly found my tag number, told me it had been re-tagged, and even said the bag has been traced to Terminal 5, waiting to go on my flight. Now I just have to get myself there in time. Okay, so I understand the fastest way to transfer between these two terminals, 3 to 5, is to use the Heathrow Express. Quite expensive if you're going to or from central London, but completely free to change terminals. It's about 20 past 2, next train in 5 minutes. I'll just about be okay. So I'm in the right place and the bags are in the right place. Thank goodness for that. I'm in the British Airways first class lounge at the moment. If you travel as much as I do, you get all these loyalty points and you end up getting a load of freebies like here, where there are lots of premium drinks and some pretty decent food as well. And finally relax, and here's to a city victory. So the final act of this journey is collecting my baggage in Berlin. I think the only other thing that can go wrong if I get my baggage is taking the wrong train to Leipzig, but I don't think that's very likely, so I think once I get my bag from this conveyor belt, we're out of the woods. Now, I know I spent a lot of time vlogging this journey, but that's because I've never ever seen anything like it before. My bag, I don't know how the hell it's got here. I'm just going to show you the baggage tag because it really was only labelled to Heathrow and I was told to pick it up there. So if you can see that there, Muttonistas. How that got on this flight, I have no idea, but thank you to whoever at British Airways or Iberia in Madrid actually sorted that out for me. Anyway, let's go and take the train, and hopefully I'll meet a few blues for a late one tonight.
In platform sections B to E, departure.
So here I am finally at Leipzig Central Station, 14 and a half hours since I left my hotel room in Seville. Not a recommended journey, this one. I'll probably roll the vlog onto tomorrow, but there's probably enough to make a vlog on its own, just to cover the journey. Anyway, I'm going to seek some light refreshment, and I'll see you tomorrow for match day. Well folks, it's finally match day. I had a long lie-in after that 14-hour journey and a few drinks afterwards. And Leipzig does have quite a lot of history about it. But we're not really here for the history, we're here for the food and especially the football. So let's get on with some food and drink before heading early to the stadium. Because if you remember at Dortmund, I stood, as I'm going to do tonight, in the standing area. And if you don't get there earlier, you get yourself into a pretty dangerous position where you could slip or push down a few rows by a surge. And there seem to be a lot of younger City supporters here. We've really turned up today. I don't know if everybody has tickets or not, but to be honest, some of them are so young that I don't see how they actually managed to get tickets, because they'll have been like 3 or 4 years old by the time they'd have to have joined the loyalty scheme to be able to get the tickets. Unfortunately, my friend Bob has managed to get us a table. Okay, beverages first, and wow, this is heavy to pick up, this is. We call them stones, I think, in England, but I believe you ask for eine Mass here. Anyway, just ask them for the largest one they've got, and you can't go wrong. Anyway, here's to a City win. And as you can see on the glass, it does state clearly that this is a Munich brew. And before you all ask Muttonistas, yes, these are very heavy. How the staff can carry 3 of them in each arm at a time, I've no idea. I can just about manage one, and I mean just about. Now, on to the food, Muttonistas. It has arrived. No more of the Mediterranean stuff we were having in Seville. Back onto the heavy, beer-friendly German food. And we have 6 Nuremberg sausages with mash, gravy and sauerkraut, which is something I've acquired a taste more of late. Bob has gone for 2 large bratwursts, again with mash and sauerkraut. Pot of mustard, and given who I'm with, I can't really say Bob's your uncle. Oh well, I just have. Okay, I'm going to have it on its own first. I am a mustard lover, so I'm going to slather that all over them in a minute. But pretty tasty, creamy mash. And now for the sauerkraut, let's see whether it compares to the stuff I had in Western Germany and in Poland. You can taste the vinegar there, properly sour and with bacon bits. So that's on the money. I'm not sure I know enough about sauerkraut to determine that this is absolutely magic sauerkraut, but it's good enough for me. Bit of mustard now. As always, complements sausages superbly. Please, 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 Muttonistas, don't put ketchup on stuff like this. Anyway, I'm going to get on with this because we're going to go to the ground a bit early because of a local bus strike. I suppose the question before I do go is, do I stick or twist on these lovely stones of beer? And finally, just before we go, one last item. You've got to have the local digestive, a schnapps, it's called Schnapps Obstler. Yeah, very pleasant, and I'd say even though it's not made from grapes, it does taste very similar to grappa in my opinion. Well, I've arrived at a football ground earlier than I normally do. 2.5 hours, maybe 2.25 early, and a lot of people are doing the same thing. It was probably a good idea because the buses were on strike. I had difficulty getting a taxi and he wasn't keen to take us there, and we're still looking for the away end at the moment. Unlike at Dortmund, there doesn't seem to be much happening around the ground in terms of refreshments.
Who's going to know about this?
Well, good luck to those arriving late. I do so myself sometimes, but wow, this really is being led down the garden path. And yet even further to walk. This is a really odd setup they have for away fans here. And of course, none of the City fans will have been here before. Okay, so quite a nice ground here, Mutton, as I said here early. Massive trek to get here, and an overzealous security check. They wouldn't let me bring my power banks in, so I'm going to have to be very careful how I use my power. And, even worse for a lot of you, I'm drinking water because unlike at Dortmund, they only allow 2.9% beer. No idea if that's the same in the home end, but you'll have to drink a lot of that extremely quickly if you want it to have any effect whatsoever. Since it's close to drinking water, I may as well just have the real thing. And by the way, if you are a Leipzig supporter who stumbled upon this vlog, please let me know in the comments, is it the same arrangement in the home aim, or can you bring a power bank in, or can you drink alcoholic beer, as in proper alcoholic beer, not this 2.9% stuff? Anyway, I haven't talked much about the football itself, folks. Now, our opponents, Red Bull Leipzig, started this season appallingly badly, but then went on an absolutely enormous run, which was ended by Union Berlin, who are surprise candidates for the German title, and they beat Leipzig 3-2. Their star striker Nkunku might not be playing, we'll have to see the team news, but Leipzig are clearly no mugs, and this is going to be harder than people thought. And of course we've got the usual cacophony from the opposing domestic fans in England saying, oh, City getting an easy draw. I think not. I think this could be either a high-scoring draw, say 2-2, or even Leipzig edging it, given our away form has been pretty poor. I think we'll overturn it at the Etihad and go through, but it's not going to be easy. As for City, De Bruyne and Laporte both have picked up a bug. Stones is a long-term injury. I would hope that we have Akanji, Diaz in the middle, Walker at right back and Ake at left back, but you never know how Pep's going to experiment. All in all, we have to make sure we are not sloppy and turn over the ball in dangerous situations, which we've been doing a little bit too often, and most of all, take our chances. What happened at Forest on Saturday? Okay, I didn't cover the game, but I saw enough in a 3-minute highlight package to tell me that we've got to do better than that. And the team news has just come out, and thankfully Pep has not messed about today. The back four, as I described, Diaz and Akanji, Walker and Ake. In the middle, Rodri, Gundogan and Bernardo. And up front, Haaland, Grealish and Mahrez. And Leipzig do not have Nkunku playing. Didn't spot him on the bench either, so that's another positive for City. Leipzig do have Timo Werner, although he is indeed rather famous for missing chances rather than putting them away. Okay, I stand corrected. I understand that Nkunku is on the bench. was about to report that City had kept the ball for about 10 minutes and nothing had happened. And when Leipzig got the ball back, well, Grealish dispossessed the defender well, slotted it to Mahrez, who made no mistake. 1-0 City. Half-time, Leipzig 0, City 1. City in total control here. Stroking the ball around nicely, no sloppy transitions. Pressing Leipzig well in the few moments where they've had possession, which indeed did lead to the goal with Grealish dispossessing the defender. A few other chances for City, just that little shot into Ederson's arms at the end for Leipzig. Not much more to add really, not the most enthralling half, but City doing the business. 45 more minutes of that, please. Oh! 10 minutes into the second half, and City have started a little scruffily after an excellent first half performance. Got to control the ball a bit better, and it is fair to say Leipzig are playing a lot better. Concentration, lads, concentration. So, Nkunku has come on, and City really need to get a hold of this game again. They've got their danger man on. He might not miss one of these chances that Leipzig have failed to put away in this half. Well, that goal had been coming, the pressure had been coming on. We've got to sort ourselves out here. And the goal itself, after a good Ederson save, well, it was just defenders out jumping ours for a corner. I don't think corners should ever result in goals. Well, maybe just rarely, but not like that. Anyway, why hasn't there been a substitution for City yet? I mean, this half hasn't gone well at all. We're 72 minutes in. Surely it's time for a change. Go on! Oh! Go on! Oh! ball! Well, not the best game. Time for a holdback, but at least they announced that it would be 25 minutes before they let us out. Well, Muttonistas, after a 1 hour walk from the stadium, safely ensconced in a bar. And well, what about the second half and the match as a whole? I thought, well, to use the cliche, it was definitely a game of two halves, and Leipzig at half-time brought on a sub and marked Rodri very tightly, which meant the ball didn't circulate and go forward as smoothly as possible, and we kept ending up getting scrappy possession and losing it. And Leipzig, having done absolutely nothing in the first half, were then able to fashion some decent chances. I think they had two really good chances, including one which was saved by Edison, until the goal itself. And their goal, well, Guardiola just out-jumped our defenders. Always disappointing to concede a goal like that, in my opinion. Especially when they had Timo Werner up front, who as usual couldn't hit a barn door. Funnily enough, after the equaliser, City actually got a grip on the midfield and the game again. I don't know why that kick up the arse was necessary to spur them into action, but it did have that effect. And it's also possibly that Leipzig were happy with the draw from where they were and didn't want to risk being countered for a second. But if they'd seen how poorly City had been countering in the last month or so, I think they should have gone for it, really. City did actually fancy a decent chance at the end in a couple of good situations and forced a good save out of the Leipzig keeper. But I have to say, from where the City fans were standing, that looked like a Stonewall penalty in the last minute. The Leipzig defender was playing volleyball. I checked my footage, it looked like a penalty, even though the best angle would have been from the other side of the stadium, where it would have been seen more clearly, and I understand the TV replays confirm that. So, more bad luck for City with VAR. Where does that leave City? I'm pretty confident that we'll get through and do the business at the Etihad, but it's not over. In the second half, Leipzig showed they can play. Though, having said that, as disappointing as a lot of our away matches have been at late, the home form's been pretty decent. And on that basis, I'm going to predict City to go through. My experience of Leipzig as a whole and the match day, not actually that impressed with the place. The city's okay, pleasant to visit, had some good food, had some good beer, but not many places are open late, which is not good for football supporters. The handling of the away fans at the ground is awful. I had 2 power banks confiscated, so I had to switch between my phone and the microphone just to make sure I had enough juice in my phone to actually cover the whole game. 2.9% beer inside the stadium. I didn't expect that restriction to be in place in a German football ground. As I remember that the Bayern and Dortmund grounds, there was alcohol freely available, and football supporters like their beer. Okay, it's not terrible, it's not a hole, but if I weren't vlogging matches, I wouldn't be rushing to come back here. Now, I do understand one mitigation is the bus strike that's on at the moment, but I have to say, how much of a difference does that really make? I suspect most people would still have to take this enormous walk, which was an hour, don't forget, to get from the city centre to the stadium, and again the same on the way back. So I'm going to wrap it up here, folks. Time to love you and leave you again. I won't be covering the Bournemouth game away, but I will be at Bristol City away, the last of our 5 consecutive away games. So I hope to join you for that vlog. And until then, please remember, keep liking, keep sharing, keep subscribing, and most of all, don't forget, you can't beat a bit of mutton.